Hey YouTube, this is DJ's Gauge Trains again. Got some new engines in today. They just arrived today and I've just tested them out to see if they work. They are MTH uncataloged Long Island Railroad gp38's. I'm showing you them in this book here that I have. It's a really cool book. Um, in the beginning of this paragraph, it says in January of 1976, the Long Island Railroad began to receive its first of 22 General Motors GP38s. They were numbered 250 to 271, and then if we look down here in 1977, they had a second order for 6 additional units, 272 through 277. And these were in service on the Long Island Railroad what seemed to be forever. I grew up on Long Island, and I would see these Jeeps all the time in this paint scheme. That right there, that's the Blue Wave paint scheme. When I was a little kid, they had just been painted in the blue at first. In the later part of the 70s and into the early part of the 80s, a lot of them looked like this with the red wave, and then they were painted back to the blue. So it wasn't uncommon to see them lashed up together like that in both schemes. Very nicely done. This is the first time the blue scheme has ever been done. These are brand new with Protosounds 3.0 and the whole 9 yards. They're gorgeous. I've got 2 of them. MTH released them in 3 cab numbers. I've got 2 of the 3, which is awesome. They're all powered units. I was kind of hoping that the third one would be a dummy. I would have purchased it if it was, but you know, 3 powered units was just a little bit pricey. I didn't even realize that these were announced. I just got a flyer from MTH saying that these were released and shipped. So I acted quickly. I sold some stuff in my collection to get these in. I didn't have a chance to reserve them and save the money up to purchase them, but I was able to move some stuff out of my collection and get these in, and I'm very happy I did. They're gorgeous engines. So those are the Protosound 3.0 Blue Wave paint scheme, and this is a kind of slightly earlier MTH uncatalogued version of these Jeeps with Protosounds 2.0. Very nicely done. I've got all 3 of these. This is not the first release of the Red Wave paint scheme. K-Line's done it a couple of times. MTH released one in the late 90s, but it was unprototypical because it said Long Island written in white through the red band, and that just wasn't the case. The only place Long Island was ever written on these diesels is right there. And of course, MTH is not allowed to put the M logo on any of their diesels or subway sets or commuter sets because of a lawsuit involving their release of graffiti subway sets. So it's kind of ridiculous, but you can get logos anywhere. I applied these logos myself. I bought the decal sheets on eBay. I stocked up on them. I've got enough to do several trains if I so choose to. So, and I just put those M logos on these Jeeps. They're still kind of drying. So what I'll do now is I'll just take you through some of the features. One feature I'm really happy about on these, see if we can focus in and get a little bit more light, is red marker lights on the nose. If you look on these, the marker lights are green, which is not correct. You can't really see that, but on the other YouTube videos I have of the Red Wave, you'll see the marker lights are green. That's not correct. MTH, you can buy the parts from MTH, so eventually I'll do that. But that was awesome to see red marker lights. The details and features on this are typical MTH Protosounds 3.0. You've got Rule 17 lighting. You've got a really nice sound system. It is a little bit bassier than the Protosounds 2.0 version. There's no battery, which is awesome. You don't have to worry about changing the battery every couple of years on these. You've got this nice Long Island Bicentennial logo here. There we go. I'll keep the camera there for a second so you could read it. Engineer figure there. And on the Red Waves, we have We Serve with Pride. So, if you flip through the book that I showed you just a second ago, you'll see both logos on either paint scheme, and some of the engines had no logo. So, there was really, it didn't seem to be any rhyme or reason with that. And even with the M logo, some of the units have them, some of the units don't have them. So, I like to put them on, just because it's hard to find the M logo with MTH stuff anymore, so I just like to put it on my units. Regardless, I think it looks good. So, if I was to say that there is one thing I'm disappointed with these engines is that there is no passenger announcements in these Blue Wave paint schemes. It's freight, so I'm wondering if MTH might make a fix for that sometime. I kind of like passenger announcements in my Long Island stuff because most of the time they did pull passenger trains. These engines announce New York to Montauk and have stops along the way, which is really cool. These engines have freight announcements with a guy with a southern accent. So I was a little disappointed to hear that. I was kind of hoping for Huntington to Port Jefferson because that's the line I lived along. So I didn't get my wish with that, but I did get an awesome sound system, great details, just an awesome engine. So what I'm going to do now is stop talking and turn them on, let you hear some of the features. Then after that, I will take you through this crazy lash-up that I have created here. It's kind of interesting. So that's the last one there, the Jaws snowplow, which by the way is a prototypical car. Slightly different in real life. It was a flatbed, so this is loosely based on the prototype, but it's still awesome. And it's really old, by the way. I did not add that M logo. It came with the model, so that gives you an idea of how old this model is. It's from the late 90s. So going back, I will turn on this one here and let you hear some of the sounds. So those are the basic sounds. Awesome engine. So now what I'm going to do is take just a minute and talk about this lash up here. When I was a little kid, we used to, about once a year, take these fan trips on the Long Island Railroad. Usually we'd start at Hunters Point Avenue in Queens and wind up either over the Hellgate Bridge in Connecticut somewhere or at Montauk Point. And sometimes they had some pretty unusual consists. This is loosely based on one trip I took that had a gondola with benches on it so you could sit outside. They had a couple of coaches and a parlor car sandwiched in the middle, and on the outside was one gondola there, and then there was another one here. And then at the end of the gondolas was two cabooses, so you could walk from the caboose through the gondola into the coaches, into the parlors, and then out to the other side. And if I remember correctly, that fan trip had two MP15s painted in the World's Fair gray and orange scheme. And when we got to the end of the line, those MP15s went to the other side of the train and pulled it back home. So it was very nice. So I kind of tried to base this train on that, where you have the World's Fair caboose and the two gondolas. I only have one gondola and I only have one World's Fair caboose. So, I did it as best I could, and I think it's awesome. And since I don't have MP15s painted in the World's Fair scheme, and since they've never been produced, I'm using these gp38's to pull it. And then in the back end here, we have an F7 and the third gp38. And then I threw the Jaws snowplow on there just because it looks really cool. So I'll start this up, I'll run it around, and by that time I think we'll be at the 15-minute mark, and I'll have to shut the camera off. But here we go.
Take care. See you soon.
That's about it. Really happy with these engines. The one good thing about Protosounds 2.0 and 3.0 is that the sound systems are interchangeable. So maybe one day they'll make a fix where you can put passenger station announcements in these engines. But even if they don't, they're still great. I'm real happy with them. If you want to get one, I'd hurry up and call Nassau Hobbies up because I'm sure they'll be sold out. If they haven't already sold out, they'll be sold out of these really quickly. So they're great engines. Very happy with them. Thanks for watching. Happy railroading. Talk to you next time.